Hey, Bill, why don't you give me 10 amazing facts about heavy metal?
Funny you should ask that. I have 10 facts right here. Let's start with Hatebeak. There is a band called Hatebeak, formed by Mark Sloan and Blake Harrison, whose lead singer is an African gray parrot named Waldo. They don't tour so they don't injure the parrot. So I was interested and I listened to this, and I guess I thought because parrots can talk, it would be like, the hordes of Satan have come, and really it's just a bird just squawking randomly while they jam out. Have you heard any? Yeah.
I haven't. Hatebeak, did you say?
Yeah, it's called Hatebeak.
I haven't heard any. If I can find some, maybe I'll put like 3 seconds now.
All right, the members of Metallica are sitting around the studio. They've just finished a new song. James says, I don't know, I just feel like it's missing something. So Kirk raises his hand and he says, just hear me out now. What if, in the middle of the song, I put on my wah-wah pedal and then I go, and then Lars is like, it's just so crazy it might work. Just kidding. I love you, Kirk.
Did you say the bird just squawks?
Yeah, so it's like, and it's like you can tell that they just recorded the bird just being the bird and then threw it into like Logic or something and just like placed it. But it is also surprising like how it's not that different from a regular death metal singer.
Oh, I see. Right, so 2 angles there. Right. So, number 1, I don't get it. Because if it's just squawking, why does it need to be a parrot? It could be any bird. A magpie. A magpie. I'll tell you what. I know from personal experience, a magpie would have as the best. It's got the kind of crowing of a clattering trash can. Right? If you're going to use a parrot...
Can you do that again? Can you just do that again for the folks at home? For the folks at home that missed that, please do that again. Right? I'd buy that album.
But if you're going to use a parrot, did you say it was an African grey?
An African grey parrot.
Right, so that's the best talking parrot in the world, the African grey. Also one of the most clever animals, right? So if you've got a parrot that can talk...
I mean, couldn't
you just
make
have
that
it
same
squawk?
Example? Couldn't you make that same example with a human being death metal singer? You go, well, it's a person, so they can talk. Why do they go?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I mean, so I would make the same argument for a human being.
So they specifically got a bird that could talk, but they had it squawk.
Didn't.
Right.
Which is, I think, I respect the choice.
I do. I do.
I wonder, like, you know how every band, like, obviously it's a gag, but I wonder if there's got to be one person in the world that's like, I was having a really tough time in high school, and then I heard Hatebeak, and it just, I don't know, he just connects with me, you know? There's, like, one fan that's, like, takes it, like, super into it.
So people around the world are using Hatebeak as part of their top 10 heavy metal facts, but... do you reckon there are people out there who actually enjoy Hatebeak's music?
They've been around for a while, and then they broke up and came back out.
Not musical differences. You're not telling me Waldo wanted to go into pop.
All of the interviewers just wanted to talk to the bird, and the 2 guys got really jealous. That's
right.
pretty funny.
Very good.
Okay,
very good.
Fact
Right,
number
next.
2. Black Sabbath guitarist Tony Iommi lost the tips of his fingers from his right hand while placing metal into a machine. This accident made him reinvent his style of playing, so in a way, the accident helped form what we now know as heavy metal. If my woodshop teacher from high school is watching this, I'll bet he sees his own saw blade accident where a similar thing happened as a missed opportunity.
It's good, isn't it? This is going through all the facts that exist about heavy metal and picking the ones that you can think of a punchline for.
No,
That's what's happening. Yeah,
I did not do that.
Yeah.
I thought of interesting facts, and then I came up with the funny punchline.
That one's like one of the ultimate heavy metal facts, isn't it? Tony Iommi cuts the tops of 2 fingers off in a metal accident in the Black Country, Birmingham way, and creates heavy metal. The most important metal fact, creates heavy metal because he then fashions his own fingertips out of, I don't know, bottle caps or leather straps or whatever. And because of that, you can only really play power chords, which no one played power chords, I don't think, before Tony Iommi really did that. Everyone was
bar
like
chords
that.
Are not very metal.
Everyone was trying to do that, like being really fancy.
Yeah.
And people
or
like
the bar chords.
Yeah, guitar players looked like this. So when people would go, "Oh, are you old and arthritic?" and they'd say, "No, I'm a current pop guitar player. Thank you very much. I'm only 32."
Yeah.
But after Tony Iommi, guitar players were able to extend their fingers and relax and look like normal human beings. So Tony Iommi created this in guitar players.
It's one of those things that's always crazy because in my household, I was only allowed to listen to Christian music and some R&B, like Michael Jackson kind of stuff, till like 12 or 13. And then my next door neighbor showed me Metallica's One, and it just blew my mind. And Nirvana around the same time. But I went back through all the Metallica albums, and that made me want to play guitar. And that led to all kinds of like career things and friendships and like meeting my wife at my job. So in a way, if he didn't chop the tips of his fingers off, my life might have been completely different. And George Clooney might be Batman right now.
That's true.
That's a Flash reference for the 3 people that saw that movie. Okay. Moving along, Gall, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Gall. In 2002, Gall, the former vocalist of Gorgoroth, was fined $27,000 and sentenced to a 1 year in prison for torturing a man for several hours. He collected the man's blood in a cup, saying, quote, "I'm going to sacrifice you and drink your blood." Later, in 2006, he went to jail again for torturing another man for 6 hours. Now, this is not my one-liner. This is absolutely true. Gall claimed that in that incident, where he tortured the man for 6 hours, he was acting in self-defense. Gall is now allegedly married to Kim Kardashian.
See what you did there? He's
Well, the
doing
last
it.
one I did.
He's picking
The
them out.
last-
He's finding them. He's finding them. He's
last one I
spearing
did.
them.
No, it's an interesting fact. And then after I collect the interesting facts, I say, what can I say funny about this?
And next,
The origin of the upside down cross, or the cross of St. Peter, which originates from the martyrdom of Peter, which was found in 200 AD. It was written in 200 AD. In it, Peter requests to be crucified upside down because he didn't feel worthy of being crucified the same way as Jesus Christ. They say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so it turns out that all your favorite heavy metal bands and anarchists are all just really big fans of the Apostle Peter. It's always worse when someone mock laughs. Bill Burr told a story of his worst gig, and he said he was doing a college gig. So he's standing in a cafeteria, and the kids are just eating lunch, and he said he's just bombing left and right trying to do his little act. And he said this kid just comes up to him, like as he's doing his act, and he goes, and he just felt like he just wanted to crawl under the floor, you know. Roger Tolgren received disability benefits for his addiction to heavy metal. He claims to go to 300 concerts per year, which leaves him unable to hold down a job. He's been trying for 10 years to get this classified as a handicap. He did get a job in 2012 as a janitor, and he says he works 4 hours a day and spends the rest of the time with his band. His band name? The Great Work Ethics.
I'm having a heart attack.
It's crazy that he gets. It's crazy that he gets disabilities when my doctors never want to hear about my addiction to playing Xbox by myself.
It's like I read this fact and I thought this can't be true. I researched it. Everyone out there, just put his name into Google, read his page. It all happened. He's going to like 300 whatever gigs a year. He claims he's got an addiction. It's in Sweden. Probably says it all. They've recognised it.
Oh, that's how he got. Okay.
That's how he recognised it as a disability. They said you're right. You cannot function as a normal human being. You are addicted to heavy metal, and he has it as a legitimate thing. And I just shook my head as I was reading it. I was like, you cannot, John McEnroe style, you cannot be serious. But if there's any positive to this, his whole life, the 300 gigs, the disability allowance that he gets, the money he's getting paid, the whole world shaking their heads was worth it just for the joke that you made. It was quite fantastic. I think that's a top three Bill joke of all time.
Well, unfortunately, I want to announce that our next episode is going to be late coming out because me and the wife and kids are moving to Sweden after hearing about that. Like, good Lord.
It's true. On the visual version of this, I'll put on the screen the NME story that I read today explaining it. And it is true. Someone goes to the doctor and says, sorry, I can't work. I'm addicted to going to gigs. And they went, yeah, okay, have some free money. Unbelievable. We all need... I'm moving with you.
Roger, look, I'm sorry, buddy. We're really slammed today. Gina and Jenna called out. Really gonna need you, buddy. I'm sorry, Death Magnetic just came out. What? Oh, okay. Look, Death Magnetic came out. Yeah, it's Metallica. Yeah, we're just gonna have to make do. Sorry, Jenna. You're gonna have to cover more tables. Okay, for our next fact. Members of Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin were such huge fans of Monty Python that they helped fund Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Pink Floyd in particular liked them so much that they would stop recording sessions just to watch new episodes. And now, for something completely different.
So one time I had a few beers with the guys from Morbid Angel. I was like, enough already, fellas. We get it. You really, really like Satan. I mean, why don't you go write a breakup song or something? I don't think they cared for that too much. Myself, I could never see myself being a morbid angel. But at the rate I'm eating, when I die, I will most definitely be a morbidly obese angel.
Devil horns were popularized by Ronnie James Dio. Now, Gene Simmons says that he invented them. Gene Simmons, is that the guy who used to wear the tights and do Sweatin' to the Oldies? They originally had use in India, and they were said to... You don't know who Richard Simmons is? Well, all right, do me a favor. When this is edited in, just put up a picture of Richard Simmons, because you're going to Google this later, and you'll really appreciate that joke.
Okay.
It was originally used in India to ward off demons and negative thoughts, which I always thought was funny to me, like different symbols. Like I always liked when they use like spices. So you've got a demon, right? He's like all powerful. He can he can do everything but fight God. So he can go through walls and space and time doesn't exist. But then at the same time, he's like, oh no, not paprika. like when they put just put paprika around your pillow in a figure eight, and then all-powerful, immortal, spiritual being is useless now. He can't do anything in the face of that spice you put on pizza. Anyway, okay. In Latin countries, when your hand turns back and forth, and I forget if it's like this or if it's like this, apparently it symbolizes cuckoldry, which I don't know about you, but I don't think that's very metal. 6, you know what is metal? Sharing a romantic evening with a woman you both care for and respect.
Without your punchlines, this would be useless. This is great. This is great. It's like I hear the fact coming, and I'm waiting to see what the twist is going to be at the end.
Female rock band called Rock Bitch that would allegedly throw golden condoms into the crowd, and whoever caught the condom, male or female, would immediately be escorted backstage and then would sleep with the entire band. The band claims to have done this hundreds of times and never caught an STD. So, me and Six were trying to be a little bit more family friendly with our show. So the following joke you will not be allowed to hear. But I figured, how about I say the joke, we'll edit it out, but then I'm going to keep Six's reaction. So you will know in a moment whether or not you missed out on a great joke or actually if censorship helps our society and it was actually good that you didn't get to hear the following. Okay, Six.
Bring it on.
I was going to say...
There's no way I could leave that one in.
Sorry, folks. It looks like you missed out. It looks like you missed out, folks. There's a real gem on the cutting room floor there.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my
So
god.
we're
Oh my god.
I was surprised hearing that fact because, like, I guess you'd be number one. I'm really surprised they're not more infamous because I never heard of them before this. I would think that kind of a stunt, you'd at least hear of them. And I thought, like,
They weren't allowed into the
should.
US.
I should listen to their music because I'm like, how terrible does it have to be that has to be your get? Like, I don't think like, Tool or somebody has to do this sort of thing. But, like if your music's good enough.
Well,
I don't
Radiohead
think
do it, don't they? I thought Radiohead did this at the end of
That's how
every gig.
Radiohead, only for their OK Computer tour.
Yeah, I thought they did.
They did that.
I thought they did. I thought it was
Kidday.
Radiohead and Genesis. They both do it.
Luck be a lady. They just throw the condom out after that. All right, everybody, you've been a great crowd. Whoever caught that condom, meet me in my dressing room. So the next one is a pretty intense one. So it's about a guy it was a band who actually killed another band member. And when I thought of that, before I looked it up, I was going to do a gag. I thought it'd be funny. I guess the rest of the show is me saying the joke I would have done. But I thought it'd be funny if I would have said, we used to have a third member in TEHI, and then both of you and I just go, and like manically laugh. But then I read the actual story, like I just remembered it, and it was so disturbing that I don't want to add any gags to this. So apparently the band was called Mayhem, and they were highly controversial and due to their live performances. And then in 1991, the vocalist, now I'm going to butcher all these are Eastern European names that I'm going to butcher. Per Yngve Olin.
Perfect.
They called him dead. So he committed suicide, unfortunately, with a shotgun. And they used the other guy, what was his name? Unanimous? Anyway, okay, he took a picture of his dead body right after he did it, and then later used it as an album cover. And then later in 1993, and I believe, that was Euronymous, which it sounds like, what is he, chatting with Socrates before he before he's doing this? And by former member Varg Vikernes, Count Grishnak of Burzum. Apparently then stabbed him to death, allegedly. So pretty disturbing stuff. And if I flubbed that at all, please correct me.
Well, it's an interesting fact. I remember something similar happened with NSYNC, didn't it? Didn't they also?
So you did find the gag of when Lance stabbed a 40-year-old looking guy?
Yeah, I think so. One of their album covers. I'm pretty sure. Next.
All right. Pantera was once a glam rock band with an album called Metal Magic, and show the picture to the folks at home right now. I was looking for Phil Anselmo. I'm probably butchering his last name. He's sort of the biggest tough guy that was in the band, so I was just hoping to see a picture of him with Aquanet hair and like, pink spandex on. Before Pantera had a mouth for war, they had a love of Aquanet. Now almost. Before Pantera,
if we get it right, this could be.
Oh wait, I got it.
That we
Before
make it. This could make the whole podcast
right, ready?
series. Right, I'm ready.
Before they had a vulgar display of power, they had a vulgar display of spandex.
LOL SMH laughing face emoji. that SOB never changed expression. Even when he was eating a frickin' ghost.
Ladies and gentlemen, our last fact. Are you ready? Dave Mustaine used to be in Metallica. I only bring this up because Dave never mentions this.
He's such a strange character, doesn't he, Dave Mustaine? Like, always tells the story, doesn't he? Like, if you watch any like Metallica documentary, when he has a voice, he says, you know, I'm walking down the street and I'm still scarred because someone will always go, "Oh, Metallica!" at me. And it's like, but like you say, his whole life is defined by talking about how he was in Metallica.
Yeah, meanwhile, people are
asks for it.
dying. Well, and I think he was incredibly talented. And no one denies that. And I think if he never talked about it, people would look at it more. You know, if he never brought it up, people would be like, dude, he was himself. He didn't even bring it up. He wrote like a lot of songs on their first 2 albums. He never says anything. The fact that he brings it up so much, and the fact that he wears his heart on his sleeve. And if you read an interview today about him referencing Metallica, he'll either be defending them and talk about how much he loves them, or he'll be completely slagging them off. And it changes. Like, it's like, you know how the sun goes up and down?
Yeah.
Dave Mustaine interviews about Metallica.
Yeah.
But it's really everyone in his life. He's just, and I don't know the guy. He does seem like a guy who's really hurt. And unfortunately, I think most of us, if you have a falling out with good friends, never mind the huge success, you sort of get to live that out in your own privacy, and your friends kind of know about your bad calls or if you're freaked out or anything. Unfortunately, in fairness to Dave Mustaine, he's going through this in about as public a way as you possibly could.
Kind of defines
so I take
his personality.
In fact, that was the first. I don't know if I'd call it a show. We played a medley at a Catholic school with a couple buddies of mine. I played bass, and we played a medley of Metallica and Megadeth. We played Orion, To Live Is To Die. We started with this song called Five Magics, called Rust in Peace. And I'll never forget, it was my first time ever playing in front of everybody. So the beginning of Five Magics, it goes, and I'm the bass player, so I come out and it goes, and then at a certain measure, one guitar comes in, and the two guys in the band, the one guy went to the school, really great guitar players, and they go, and then the other guitar comes in and harmonizes. And then together we go. So anyway, the show starts. My first ever show. A couple buddies of mine, Frankie and Marcus, are in the crowd, so I want to like impress them. I come out with my bass all cool. At the time I had hair, it's like covering my face. And I look over at the part where the guitar comes in, and the dude who goes to school there is just on his pedal doing this, like, oh! And he like, the pedal wouldn't work. So then I'm just like, and then finally it comes in, and then the rest went great. And then we had the drummer videotape at his parents', and they weren't the smartest people, so they only videotaped like half of it. It was all, and then we taped over it with the Golden Girls. Now, but yeah, so I lost out, so that tape would have existed somewhere. And it was funny because we're all wearing real rock and roll. I had a white button-up shirt with no collar, like a priest collar, and a vest. Nothing says metal more than a collarless shirt and a vest. The only thing I was missing is in America they used to have these cowboy ties with like a silver thing and then strings hanging down. I was like and then maybe getting a mullet. It was the only thing I was really missing from that show. But yeah.
But you played Megadeth in a Catholic school.
And the funny thing is we were gonna play my friend Ian, who I was also kind of in a band with, and we played a lot of Nirvana stuff. We were going to have him sing, and we were going to play Soundgarden's Fell on Black Days as well. And the nuns looked at the lyrics on that and said, no, you can't play that. So instead of, and now they didn't know, all they knew was instrumental, because we played the 4 instrumental songs. They didn't know that, the first one was by a band called Megadeth. And the song was literally in a Catholic school called Five Magics, which I don't know if you're familiar with Catholic schools. They don't care for magic. It's not big on their list of things they want in the. But we didn't, we weren't trying to we just thought it was a cool song, that we were playing. And I do have a picture. I hope I didn't lose it. There of the nuns, and they had like purple hair, and we're playing, and we got the best. We didn't win the talent show, but we got the highest crowd score. And the nuns, we have a picture from behind of them with purple hair, just doing this as we're, because we also played "To Live Is to Die" at the end. Bow bow waka waka wow wow waka wow 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 waka. It was cool though. So I have Dave Mustaine to thank for my first ever live performance, and Metallica, who. Our narrator, you probably already heard make fun of earlier in the show.
I prefer Megadeth to Metallica. Is that sacrilegious?
No, I mean there was a lot. You're one of those edgy guys, wants to be cool. You want to be.
I genuinely.
You like vanilla? I like.
I genuinely prefer Megadeth to Metallica.
When you're listening to
the 80s
Metallica
Megadeth
song,
albums are so amazing.
When you're listening to a Metallica song, you're like, I just wish he was going, "Oh me, meet the real me, my mischief way of life." I think there was, I think you can say, Megadeth were great. Like they had some really great albums, and so yeah, I could see, especially that Rust in Peace.
I think 3.
And then they had
in Peace.
Countdown to Extinction. I did love. They did what was that? So Far, So Good, So What?
So Far,
I always
So Good,
loved.
So What?
It's just a song, and they just do the pull-offs. And then that solo I always thought was cool. And I even liked Euthanasia. They had some. They sort of were trying to do the Black Album poppy thing, and I think they had a nice balance there. And then I kind of lost track of what they were doing. And now I think he's a guest on Alex Jones all the time, or something. I don't know. Dave Mustaine, I don't know what they're. Him and Billy Corgan, all kind of. They are all,
I just like the 80s. His 80s albums. He was a really clever bloke. Wrote songs really quickly, really catchy. He had a vendetta against Metallica. He was fueled by his hatred and wanting to be better. And so he produced these amazing albums. So Far, So Good, So What? Peace Sells, Rust in Peace, and he never accepted that they were successful in their own right. It was always about how inferior it was to Metallica, and he just couldn't accept that the likes of me were listening to it going, I remember hearing Peace Sells, but who's buying for the first time? And it was like, it
great
was
lyrics for that
life-changing,
too.
Amazing song. And yet, I feel a bit annoyed that he defines himself by the fact that he was in Metallica for 5 minutes. And
I get
weird.
it, because I think if you had to make a Mount Rushmore of metal, you'd have like Sabbath and you'd have Metallica. And I always laugh because there was a TikTok, or not, it was like some kind of short on YouTube, and it was James Hetfield sitting on a guitar like now and just going, he's trying to come up with something new, and all these kids are like, oh, this old man sucks, this isn't heavy. And it's like the man literally invented the genre of music that you're listening to. If he didn't outright invent it, he certainly defined it. He's 60 years old and he's still selling out like football stadiums, and some kids like, yeah, but this band I just heard, they're heavier. These 20-year-olds that they're listening to, and it's cool to like other music that isn't them, but I just think it's funny to rip on a guy who literally defined the music that you probably like.
I saw one of the most disappointing things in my sort of going to gigs life was I went to see Melon Death. I nearly said then. Can you imagine like a gala? No, a honeydew melon.
Was that?
Give it the mic.
Was that Gallagher? Was that Gallagher's heavy metal band? Melon Death.
Come on, sing for me. If only I had a melon.
No, you didn't get my joke. Do you know who Gallagher is? I said, was that Gallagher's? I always tell myself not to do this in the podcast. I say a funny joke and then I go, I repeat it because you didn't hear it. I say a funny joke and then I go, I repeat it because you didn't hear it. And I try to tell myself not to do that.
Okay, who's Gallagher then?
This last time. Gallagher used to have the black hair and the mustache, and he smashed the watermelons at the end of his. He always says a prop comic. You never heard of Gallagher?
No, Liam Gallagher is a singer of Oasis.
Rory
Gallagher, guitar player.
Future Mercurial number 6. Future Mercurial number 6. Put a picture of Gallagher for the folks at home. Now put a picture of the guy from Oasis.
The similarity is incredible. So I went to watch Megadeth, and it was very disappointing. Hang on. This ties in with earlier. This is brilliant. Watch how I tie this in, right? So it's the early 90s. I think it's the Countdown to Extinction tour. I go and see Megadeth. Unfortunately for Megadeth, they're supported by Pantera, who were absolutely on fire at the time. So, and I've got to say, Pantera blew Megadeth off the stage. And when Megadeth had a lot to live up to. Pantera, sheer fury. And Megadeth, such a disappointment. I finally get to see them, such a disappointment. Just static. Mustaine, I'm assuming he was on drugs or alcohol or something. Just static at the microphone. I don't know why I'm doing that with my hand. That's playing the guitar, okay? And he's and he's doing this. And
he plays it like it's a banjo from 1930.
Yeah. So it's an hour and a half of this, totally static with just one arm doing that, like the catch you get at Chinese restaurants.
I went to perform a Pantera and they blew me off the stage.
Oh, do you know the only thing that this podcast has missed now? Oh, no. It was in the interlude. Was there... Was that one of the interludes?
Yes.
Right,
yes.
good. Right. So we as long as we got a slagging off of Kirk Hammett in here somewhere, I can rest a happy boy.
I love you. I love Metallica. I love all of Metallica. I would never slander Kirk.
I tell you
Maybe
what,
our narrator did.
he gets some flack, doesn't he? Right? Because he's obviously a great guitar player. Right? He plays in Metallica.
Well, sure.
He's obviously a great guitar player, and yet all the guys out there who play guitars in their bedrooms feel that it's okay to slag Kirk Hammett off. He's out playing in stadiums.
I'll also say he comes across as genuinely one of the nicest people. Like, for someone as famous as he is, he has such an all shucks, thanks guys, I'm just happy to be here, I love this stuff. Like, it's really hard to dislike him if you watch any kind of, like, I've watched all of their documentaries. And I do feel like over the last album, I loved his early solo stuff, and then even on Load, as sort of bad as parts of it, I won't say bad, as much as I didn't like the country western sort of move, I thought he was doing some really interesting stuff on that album where he was just trying different tones. If you listen to the Bleeding Me, at the beginning, he's just doing like these like volume swell things, and it's just melodic, and really thinking about, and I wonder if Bob Rock influenced this, really thinking about like, where is this song going and what would be interesting here. And he's super talented, so it sounded great. And I have felt like the last few albums since Saint Anger, when they let him solo again, they all just sounded really, they just sound similar to me. So I do love the guy, and he's an incredible guitar player, and some of his solos are, I always wondered, I said this to you, if you watch Cliff Amal, there's footage of him playing solos from Metallica songs in stadiums, and I don't know if they didn't have a board feed and they were just doing like cam sound, but you hear all of the like hall reverby sound from them playing in these cavernous and it just sounds so incredible. And I always wondered why they didn't put more of like a hall reverby sound on some of his solos to really make them sound epic, because they almost sound dry to me in a way, and with the wah pedal. But yeah, so it's getting a little similar. I still love the guy, and you know, Metallica really were a formation of my musical upbringing. You know, so I always have a special place. But yeah, the last two albums are a little.
That's good. Your formative years were Metallica, yeah?
I would say, yeah.
Mine was Russ Abbott, the Birdie Song, and Bucks Fizz. So
I don't know. You're just saying this is like Porcupines now.
I tell you what, if you want to hear one of the greatest songs of all time, you should listen to The Land of Make Believe by Bucks Fizz. It's truly wondrous. And I think on that note,
is that a made-up name? Wait, I'm writing this down. The land? Is that a joke? So you're saying The Land of Make Believe?
It's not a joke.
And then you made up someone's name.
It's not a joke.
Wait, his name is, what is his name?
Bucks Fizz. It's not a joke. It's genuinely one of my favorite ever songs.
First of all, he has a plural first name, which seems to be very popular over there. Bucks. His name is Bucks.  Bucks Fizz.
It's a band. It's a group. It's an
trying to write
amazing
it down.
group.
Oh,
eh?
okay. So how do you spell it?
Bucks.
B-U-C-K-S.
Bucks.
Okay. Bucks
Fizz. Like
Is
the
that
drink.
like a statement? Are they talking about deer? Do deer fizz?
I think when they get excited, yeah.
Wait, they're talking about the drink. You have a drink called Bucks. I don't think I would drink Bucks.
Oh,
They'd say,
these are
"Phil,
the guys that drink
do you want-"
root beer.
I don't drink root beer.
All right. I
dog.
listen to Metallica and drink root beer.
You're just making things up about me. Who are you arguing with? Bucks Fizz. I will listen to it, and maybe I'll love it. Maybe I'll wear a Bucks Fizz t-shirt for the next... They'll be like, the land of make-believe.
That's it. You've heard it.
Is that how it goes?
The land of make-believe. Yeah.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah,
okay.
you got it spot on as a guess. Yeah, Cheryl Baker. Cheryl Baker was hot. I can't really say that. It's too woke society.
Cheryl Baker. Oh, so they have a female lead singer in Bucks
They
Fizz?
actually won the Eurovision Song Contest. It's something that it's a big deal over here, but in America, you don't. Well, you're not part of Europe. Well, nor am I now.
I've never heard it. Eurovision sounds like a TV or like is that like 2020?
It's the
2020
most
vision?
watched TV show in the world.
Oh, okay.
More than the Super Bowl.
Well, you really
On
shut
that
me up
note,
there. I don't-
and on that note,
Just the facts.
let us know. No one's going to let us know because no one ever comments. But if you do
No,
find the time to comment,
We got some good comments in the last
did
video.
really?
I was
Are you
very
just?
happy.
I bet you're pulling my plonker there. I bet we didn't get any.
No, we got quite a few. And they all, except for the one I liked, one person said that we worked for the CIA because I guess we were, and then I said, not me, maybe that other guy though. I said, not me, I'm the cool one. You can trust me. And then the other guy, there was one guy that really hated the shorts. He was like, those shorts suck so hard.
How can you even see my shorts? I cut me off here on the video. At the
didn't
moment,
wanna say anything.
I'm currently wearing a pair of bright yellow fluorescent shorts.
I didn't want to say anything, but when I told alleged Mickey Rourke about that comment, he wept he wept and fasted for a good half a day. When I told him the one guy didn't like him, he said to tell that guy that he's going to try harder. He's going to be relentlessly trying to chase excellence, and that he will never achieve it, but every day he will take a new step towards excellence, is what he told me to say to that guy.
Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. And on that note, until next time, as I was about to say, if you do feel like commenting, let us know a subject matter for the next top 10. Although you're not going to comment, and therefore we'll decide ourselves.
Please like and subscribe. Hit the bell. Make sure you hit the bell. If this is a podcast, subscribe to the RSS feed. And tell your friends, tell your grandmother and your grandparents and your godfather and your friends and your boyfriends and your girlfriends and everybody else. Tell them about the show. And please, I think that's it.
Over.
And...